Hello, I am Ruby Falconer. Today's date is August 17, 2020, and this is an astrological update for the upcoming week from the perspective of shamanic Egyptian astrology and a few other points of view as well. So we are heading into a new moon. The new moon is tomorrow, August 18th, and it will be in the sign Leo on the 26th degree. We are now in what we can call the dark moon window. That is the 2 nights on either side of the new moon. So it's tonight, tomorrow night, and then the following night is what we would call the dark moon window. And that is the time when the moon is not visible from planet Earth. The sky is dark, the moon is gone. And so it's a time for introspection, a time for going inward. And this new moon is already shaping up to be a pretty wild new moon, and that's unusual for the new moon. It's usually the full moon that's kind of wild and crazy. The new moon's usually a little bit quieter because I said it's a time of introspection and going inward, but this one's a little bit different. There are some rather strong elements taking place in this particular new moon chart. First of all, we have an alignment of the sun and the moon. That's the new moon itself. The sun and the moon are what we astrologers call conjunct or in alignment, along with Mercury, the planet of communication. So we've got the three of them together in the sign Leo. Then we have the ongoing great shift alignment. That's Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn. And that's been going on all year, will continue to go on for the rest of the year. And I talk a lot about the Great Shift alignment because that's everything to do with why 2020 is such a hugely transformative year and such a year of change. Then we have an alignment between Mars, the warrior king, Eris, goddess of strife and discord, and Black Moon Lilith, which I'm going to talk a little bit more about in a minute. That alignment is in Aries, and it's in a challenging relationship, what we astrologers call a square, to the great shift planets, and in a harmonious relationship, a trine, to the alignment of Sun, Moon, and Mercury in Leo. And I'm going to come back to this alignment of these three in Aries in a minute because it's important. It's probably the most interesting thing that's going on this week. But what I do want to acknowledge is that we are going to have a shift in energy this week. We're going to have Mercury move into the Earth sign Virgo on the 19th, on Wednesday. And then on Saturday, the 22nd, the sun moves into Virgo. And so that's going to be a shift of energy. Leo's a fire sign. Virgo, as I said, is an earth sign. Virgo's concerns are very different than Leo. While Leo's the sign of leadership and about speaking one's authentic truth, finding one's sovereignty, finding one's voice in the world, being recognized and acknowledged for that, ability to do that, and the process that we all have to go through in order to find out how to speak our authentic truth and how to find our sovereignty. Virgo is very much about, in a way, kind of perfecting that process. I've said before that all of the signs of the zodiac grow out of one another. And the first 6 signs of the zodiac, which is Aries through Virgo, is about the birth and creation of the individual. So we've got Aries, the desire to be. Taurus grounds that desire in a physical body. Gemini thinks about it. Cancer is about the integration process of these first 3 factors. Leo is the first time we get the product. We get a whole and complete individual. And then Virgo comes along and kind of perfects it. And so Virgo's known as a sign of organization, has a strong sense of responsibility and duty, wants to be in service. It's about health, it's about nutrition, it's about purity, stripping things down to their core. It's a good sign for organizing, for dealing with details, and with prioritizing. So that energy is coming in this week. So I want to acknowledge that, and we're going to work more with Virgo as the Virgo month goes on. But I want to move back now to this energy that we have taking place in Aries. And one of the primary elements that's in Aries right now is Mars. And I've talked a lot about Mars, so I'm not going to spend too much time on Mars the warrior, because he's going to be around for a long time, for one thing. Mars will be in Aries until January. In mid-September, Mars is turning retrograde in Aries in relationship to the great shift planets. And yes, that will be a powerful effect. We'll talk more about that when we get a little bit closer. And we're feeling it. Mars is already starting to slow down a bit. And Mars has already, in the midst of its first pass, in a challenging relationship to the great shift planets. It's already squared Jupiter. It did that early in the month. It has recently squared Pluto. And on the 24th of August, Mars will square Saturn. And then, as I said, in mid-September, it's going to change retrograde. So it's going to come back, and it's going to square them all in retrograde motion, or square two of them in retrograde motion. And then it's going to go forward again and move back in relationship to the great shift planets again. So that's going to be around for a while, and it's definitely going to be a powerful effect. You know, Mars is the warrior king. In shamanic Egyptian astrology, Mars is Set, and he's a sketchy kind of character. He's both a tremendous warrior and very loyal, and he can also be ruthless, and he can definitely be the warrior run amok. So we've got that energy going on, and it will be continuing. And right now we have powerful energy happening in that Mars is in alignment, in a conjunction to Eris. And that has already, actually, the exact conjunction has already taken place. Eris is a dwarf planet. It's the planet that's furthest out in the solar system as we know the solar system to now exist. It has a huge orbit. I believe it's 559 years. Stays in a sign for a very, very long time. It's staying in a sign Aries for 100 years. It's been in Aries, I think it was 1927 when it entered Aries. I'd have to double check that, but it's been in Aries for a long time. Most of us alive today were born with Eris in Aries. And so, Eris was only discovered in 2005. And when a planet is discovered, it comes into humanity's consciousness in some ways. Eris is it's a Greek name. She was the goddess of strife and discord. And in many of the Greek myths, Eris and Mars show up on the battlefield together. Mars is that god of war, so he's there to push the warriors. But Eris just loves strife and discord, so in those myths, she's there too. So those two have a lot to do with discord and with combat and with struggle. They show up. Eris is more complicated than that. We did a couple of weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, I'm not sure when, I did a teaching on Eris, and we did a journey with her. Eris has a lot of issues and a lot of unhappiness around injustice. And so perhaps her methods of dealing with injustice might not be the best, because she's a shit stirrer, she's a troublemaker, and that sometimes can lead to real problems and destructive things happening. But her reasons for being unhappy are not wrong. She's very upset about injustice. And so we see her showing up in the Me Too movement, the Black Lives movement, a lot of things that are going on. Since Eris was discovered in 2005, a lot of social issues that have been happening have that mark, that stamp of Eris. She is not one to be silent and to sit by while there is injustice. The only problem around her is she's not real direct in the way that she deals with it. She's a little passive aggressive, I would say. So we've got Eris, and she has been pretty much in the same place. She's been in a square to Pluto for quite a long time. She hasn't moved, but Pluto's moved. Pluto moves very slowly, and it's actually Pluto who has retrograded back a little bit away from Eris by about 2 degrees. They're still very much in relationship, and she's in relationship with all 3 of the great shift planets. And recently, Mars moved through an alignment with her as well. So at the same time that Mars is going to be in this ongoing alignment with the great shift planets, Eris is right there too. So just like the two of them show up on the battlefield in ancient Greece, the two of them are showing up in this very transformative year together to be the catalyst for the kinds of changes that will continue to happen as we move through the rest of the year. Now, an element in Aries that has joined these two in the last month that moves quicker and so therefore is more transitory is Black Moon Lilith. And Black Moon Lilith is not actually a planet, it's not an object in the solar system, it is a point. It refers to the relationship between the sun and the moon. And Black Moon Lilith marks the point when the earth and the moon, excuse me, I might have said the sun and the moon, I meant the earth and the moon. It marks the point when the earth and the moon are the furthest away from each other. It's called apogee. And so it's continually changing because, of course, the relationship between the earth and the moon is continually changing as the moon makes its orbit around the earth. But when it's furthest away, that's the apogee, and that would be the point where we would consider Black Moon Lilith. Now, there is an object out there named Lilith, and that's an asteroid that's out there in the asteroid belt. And there's also another object, is one of the not yet discovered, or perhaps, who knows, whether it will be discovered or not. It's called the Dark Moon. That's also known as Lilith, Dark Moon Lilith. And that's been around in astrological lore since the 1600s or before. And there have been various people who have believed that they've seen it with telescopes, that it's a second moon in our solar system that's kind of shadowing and circling the Earth. And, you know, that has not yet been confirmed by astronomy. Most astronomers would say that they have no evidence or any proof of this, but there are a lot of certainly there are ephemeris for it, and it's used by various astrologers. And some astrologers like to think of these three Liliths, Black Moon Lilith, Lilith the asteroid, and Dark Moon Lilith, as a kind of relationship with one another. And Demetra George, some of you might be familiar with her. She's an astrologer who has done a lot of work with the asteroids and a lot of work with the symbolism of goddess energy in astrology. She refers to the biblical story of Lilith, and that the asteroid Lilith refers to the rebellion of Lilith when she leaves Adam because she does not want to be under him, and she does not under him sexually, but she also does not want to be inferior to him. So it's that rebellious aspect of the feminine. Then when she plots her revenge and she's angry and she does dark deeds, that would often considered to be aligned with the Dark Moon Lilith, the hidden Lilith, the one that's not yet found. And the return of Lilith, when she incorporates her rebellion with her sovereignty, is often considered by Demetra George to be the Black Moon Lilith. And the Black Moon Lilith is the point that most astrologers use. So if you see Lilith in your chart, it's probably the Black Moon Lilith, and it's usually shown by a symbol for a moon with a cross underneath. So if you see that in your chart, that's Black Moon Lilith. And there is an astrologer, her name is Marina. Her website is Dark Star Astrology. And if you like this kind of goddess energy in astrological symbolism, I suggest you check her website out. She's an astrological researcher, and she does a lot of research on various archetypes, fixed stars, and I enjoy her website a lot. And she has written some stuff on the three Liliths. She used to agree with Demetra George that these represented three aspects of Lilith, and now she doesn't so much. But if you're interested in that, I'll just let you go to her website. The point that I want to make and what I want to bring in is that no matter which of these three Liliths you're working with, they have elements around them of Eris. So what we have going on right now is we have an alignment between Eris and Black Moon Lilith. And what's going to be happening particularly over the next 2 weeks, right now, Black Moon Lilith is in a square relationship, a challenging relationship to Pluto, the Lord of the Underworld. And as Marina in her website points out, there's a lot of elements in Black Moon Lilith that refer to the myth of Persephone. You know, those of you who know that myth, Persephone was a young maiden who was kidnapped by Pluto and taken into the underworld, raped and held prisoner. And so it's a real underworld version of feminine experience, that hijacking by the masculine in some way. And so right now, Lilith is in this square to Pluto. Over the next 2 weeks, as we move from the new moon, which we're entering into tomorrow, up until the full moon, which takes place on September 3rd, I believe it's September 3rd, we're going to have Lilith moving into an alignment with Eris. And as I said before, there's a lot of elements in the Black Moon Lilith of qualities that are similar to Eris. While Eris is a bit more impulsive, we could say, and as I said, maybe passive aggressive, Black Moon Lilith, what she really represents is the ability, and this is not about women specifically, it was we all have a feminine within us, its ability in any of us to connect with the instinctual aspect of the yin, you know, the feminine receptive quality of life, the animal underbelly, you know, that instinctual, untamed, unfettered, wild aspect of the feminine. That's very much who Lilith is in any of her manifestations, and it is the interpretation that most of us have sort of settled on for Black Moon Lilith, that it just really describes that, you know, howl at the moon, dance naked under the full moon, dance in the rain kind of energy. And again, I want to reinforce that this is not just about women, because everybody, no matter what gender you are or binary, no matter what you are, you've got a feminine yin aspect. And this is, the yin is also about always about receptivity, but this is the intense aspect of the receptive yin. So what this yin is receiving is that wildness, that you know, makes your heart beat fast and your blood's pulsing and you're stomping on the earth, and the tribal energy, that instinctual energy of just really feeling femininity. Of course it has to do with sexuality. Of course it has to do with sensuality. It's often associated with tantric energy. It's associated with magic, with extra sensory perception, all kinds of energies that are outside of polite society, so to speak. It's the wildness of that aspect of the feminine that wants to run wild and be free. So I would like today to invite everyone to go on a journey with Lilith. And one of the reasons I wanted to do this, as I said a few weeks ago, not that long ago, we did a journey with Eris, because Eris is so prominent right now, with Mars being in Aries, and Eris and Mars being square to the great shift planets. She's very prominent, that goddess of strife and discord. You know, obviously that energy is with us right now. But we also have this Black Moon Lilith coming in over the last month, and particularly intense over the next 2 weeks. So she's adding another element of not just strife and discord, but the howl at the moon. Feel your wildness, let it escape you. The pounding blood and feet, that energy is coming through very strongly as well. And I would point out that as Black Moon Lilith comes into relationship with Eris and with Mars, she is also in relationship to the great shift planet. She's in a square to them as well. So last week we did a journey with Uranus Wadjet. Wadjet is the Cobra Queen, the cobra that works her way up our spine and breaks through blocks and allows the full flow of life force energy. And Black Moon Lilith is very much that life force energy. So this energy is strong, and it kind of goes under the surface. So, there's a kind of wildness under the surface. I was writing my new moon post last night, and I actually put a little bit of it into my post that I published today, because my cats were fighting with each other. They were wrestling and chasing each other, and the dog was chasing them, and they're all three running around the house like maniacs, and I'm looking at this chart going, wow, talk about this animal wildness. I had some of it in my house last night, and isn't that the great gift? Those of you who are animal lovers, who love your dogs and cats and birds and fish, isn't that the gift that they give us, is that little bit of the wildness of nature that comes into our homes and into our lives? Well, Black Lilith is coming into our homes, our lives, and our collective right now, and she's bringing with us that wildness. So I want to invite everyone to get comfortable. Put your feet on the floor if you're sitting up, and if you're lying down, that's fine. Just allow yourself to feel connected with the surface you're lying on, or you're sitting on, or standing on, whatever it might be. Because beyond that surface is the earth itself. And it's always important that we take time to connect with the earth. So take a couple of nice deep breaths and allow yourself to tune in to that awareness of your connection to the earth. Drop a grounding cord, either from the base of your spine, or if you're lying down, drop it from the back of your solar plexus, and drop it down through the earth, and keep going, all the way down, even deeper. Just keep dropping that cord. And eventually that cord will connect with the core of the earth, the heart of the mother, the heart of Gaia. And use your breath. See if you can attune yourself to the beat of Mother Earth's heart. A baby in the womb can feel the heartbeat of their mother. See if you can feel the heartbeat of Mother Earth. And imagine that as you inhale, you pull that energy up. You pull it up from deep down into the earth. You pull it up into your body, up through your first chakra, up all the way through your body. And it meets your heart and it expands your heartbeat. And it moves all the way up, explosions of energy, explosion of energy in your head. And I want you to imagine now that you are outside in nature. And I want you to allow yourself to morph into an animal. Doesn't matter what kind of an animal it is. It might be a big cat. It might be a wolf. It might be something else. It might be an alligator that crawls on the surface of the earth. What comes to you is important, but just allow whatever it is to be. And let yourself feel this animal body. Animals are so sensory. Feel what it's like to wear an animal skin. Feel that skin wrapped all around you. Perhaps you have fur, perhaps you have scales. Feel your feet or your paws or your claws, whatever it is. And just keep breathing. Just really let yourself feel this amazing body. And whatever it is that you are, whatever expression of animal, tune into the instinctual awareness of this being. This desire to eat, to mate, to run, to move, to fly, whatever it might be, to swim, to hunt, to find food, to give birth. And explore your environment. I'm going to be quiet for a couple of minutes and let you be your animal and explore it. Explore what it feels like to be embodied as a wild animal in its native habitat at one with the earth. Remember to breathe. And something happens now. Perhaps you see something and you want to chase it, you want to get it. Perhaps something sees you, wants to chase you and get you. There's a struggle, there's a fight. You have to run, your heart pumps. You're fighting, you're struggling, you're running. And tilt your head back and make a sound, roar or howl or screech or cry. Woo, hoo, hoo, hoo. Whatever it is, row. Make sound. Embody that animal. Be that animal. Rip and tear, fight, run, live, live, live. The struggle has passed. You are alone It is quiet. You are alive, fully, absolutely, completely alive. Your spirit is untamed, uncontrolled, not caged, not held in, not repressed, not held down. Again, tilt your head back and howl or screech or roar your aliveness. Roar it to the mountains, to the oceans, to the skies, to the earth itself. And you are tired now, so find a safe place to curl up, a sleeping place for you, whatever it might be that is appropriate for you. And feeling that animal body, that fur, those feathers, those scales, that skin. Curl up. Let yourself fall asleep. To dream your dreams of freedom, of wildness, of not being tamed by anyone or anything. And as you sleep, your body transforms, becoming your human form once again. And Isis, Queen Mother of Heaven, appears to wrap her rainbow wings around you. Lean back against her. Receive her healing, loving energy. Feel yourself being held by the arms, the wings of the mother. Isis loves your wildness. She wants you to have access to it, along with your intellect, your emotions, all of you. For in that wildness lies your creativity, your life force. Feel her wrapping her arms around you, holding you close. Relax back into her. And taking a nice deep breath, holding close and integrating all that you have experienced, giving thanks to that wildness within, and to the loving, ever-present Isis. Take a nice deep breath and come back into the room. Thank you for being with me. We will talk again.